everyone. Joy here. Actually, Joyce Walker, whatever you want to call me. You didn't even call me late for dinner if you want to. I'm still in my PJs, believe it or not. I decided not to get dressed up today. It's really sort of like a rest day, but not just doing little things around the house. And trying to use some of this time to encourage other people, not just on here, but uh, uh, some of my friends that don't think I'm their friend and things like that. Just trying to encourage people, and the only way I know how. And one of the things that I uh, learned, you got to know the people that you're trying to encourage them, so you know what'll work to encourage them. Um, there's a lot of people out there in the world that needs encouraging. I mean, myself, I even need encouragement. What is that? What I think it's a wrinkle that's turned inside out or something. But it's coffee talk, y'all. Coffee talk. The silly stuff now. Hope the silly stuff is out of the way. But I'm still in my PJs. What does that mean? What does that mean to a lot of people? That I didn't think enough of myself to get up, take a shower, fix my hair. I did comb my hair, believe it or not, but the cut is so that I can make it look messy. That makes it. I guess the silliness isn't over with yet. But I'm still in my pajamas, and maybe I just need to run up to the store real quick and get a loaf of bread. And but the pajamas, I mean, I'm dressed. I'm fully dressed. I got the PJs on the whole outfit. Silk coat on, out the door real quick, and run right straight up to the store and back. Is that laziness? Now I had an aunt, believe it or not, when if there was other people up and about, and she got up in the mornings, I can't remember if she'd go out in the living room and have her coffee uh, with her PJs on, or with her uh, house clothes on. But anyway, when she had to go to the store, now if she was naturally older than me, but she would go to all the trouble of fixing her hair, putting on her street clothes, and just your regular everyday street clothes, nothing fancy, nothing like that, and go to the store. And then when she'd get back, she'd put her clothes back on that she had on before she left. So if she was going to be doing any work or anything around the house, that don't make no sense to me, because if you're dressed good enough, well, whatever. But anyway, and but I've been noticing people saying different things on videos on YouTube, on Facebook, and different places, how they're cutting people down that don't that hop off to the store with their PJs on, or they're not dressed good enough for their standards, and they're saying, what's wrong with people anymore? They don't have enough respect for themselves to not get dressed up. Well, what is it, for you, or is it for them, or what? Here's what I think. I think society has this role, and society is made up of different people. And society is just a thing that humans put together for rules and regulations, and everybody can live here. We're going to have laws and regulations and statutes and different norms that if you want to be in this society, you got to follow our norm. Well, you know what? Why do I need to dress up? What to show you respect? What? That's basically to me what they're saying. That people that don't get all dressed up and all showered and their hair all fixed and everything, who are they that they got the right to say, well, you don't respect yourself, or why aren't you respecting me, and why aren't you respecting society? Oh, God, my nose. By dressing up presentable. Well, what's presentable? And, so what are they expecting? They don't know people's circumstances when they're standing saying that stuff. I mean, first of all, maybe like, okay, somebody like me, or maybe a little worse than me, of being able to get up and move around and get things done. Possibly living in I live in a camper, as y'all know. But they're living in a camper and they're not hooked up to water and sewer and all that kind of good stuff. And they have no way of washing their clothes, have no way of taking a shower or anything like that, but what clothes they've got on. And they need to run up to the store for substantial stuff like food, but they're only going to be gone for a minute or two, and they're not going to linger around. They're not going to party hardy with anybody or anything like that. And get in, get out, get back home, and if you got things that you're doing that you need to work on and whatever, what's the point of getting all dressed up anyway to run up there to do that, especially if you don't have the resources to do that? Does that mean that they have any less respect for themselves or anybody else out there? Where does it say in the rule books? Okie dokie. You've got to respect society so much that you're going to put yourself through hell, because some people do go through hell trying to get ready to go to the store and be presentable. For who? For everybody else? Presentable for me? Well, there are times that, yes, I want to be presentable for me. Nobody else, for me. And then, yeah, right, but society, well, no, you can't be in society if you don't look at respect us and everybody else that's got to stand and look at you. So you can't be in society if you can't do that, if you can't follow those rules. Now, I have been in stores, and I'm not judging. I've been trying very hard not to judge people anymore, but if I run across somebody out in the store, and I have done that, especially big or heavy set women, a man or two once in a while, and oh my gosh, they stink so bad. They stink so bad. I mean, they got rules of fat on them. And whether they know that or not, I do not know. And how do you look at that? Do you say, well, they don't have no respect for themselves? I kind of look at it as they don't have the ability and nobody to help them, and they're so heavy, in which you do know that will tend to happen like that if they can't have a shower they can get into, to clean themselves up good, and or no clean clothes. But yet they got to live too, and so to sit around and question why they didn't do that, that's not up to us. And again, maybe, just maybe, the universe, God, the creator, whoever you want to say, our source, put them in our path to see how we're going to judge people and how we're going to react to people. Where is our heart? And so then, okay, there's these people out there complaining that somebody didn't have enough respect for themselves and enough respect for us. You gotta have respect for us. I mean, we are up, yeah, and you should address appropriately. Well, how does that work for people? Okay, all you people out there that feel that way, what do you expect? How do you expect that to happen if there's people that don't have those resources, but yet they're doing their very best to try to follow the rules and regulations of society, but they just don't have the sources to do that with. And then, of course, and then let's talk about the. I mean, there's always been people saying, "Get a job, lazy bum," uh, and that, of course, is still going on, and it's even getting stronger now because of all the food stamp cuts, and I agree with a lot of that, to find the fraud, see who's frauding the government and stuff like that, because the taxpayers are paying for all that. And regardless whether they know it or not, they're paying other people for the government to take care of them. Their taxes are paying for that too. It's just a circle. Because whenever you buy something, the taxes on it, you've got to pay the taxes on it, or they're not going to give you the product. So has anybody thought about that at all? I mean, and I know I'm jumping off into the rabbit hole here. I'm squirreling around through things, but we all pay taxes of some form or another. If we're not paying taxes through our job, federal government, and that, we're still paying sales tax for the city and stuff like that for those sales tax, and I don't know what they do with it. So, regardless of whether you're on disability and you're getting a disability check, or you're on SSA, SSI, all of that, regardless, you're still a taxpayer. You're just not having to fill out taxes every year to get a tax return. But we are paying taxes. So we're paying for everybody too. So it's just like, it's like this. And so if all of you people out there that are hollering about, I'm a taxpayer and I don't want to have to pay for other people's to take care of them through my tax dollars. Everybody's doing it. Everybody has some form of taxes they're paying that goes to all these different programs and stuff. So quit your griping. But back to the homeless people, you want them to get a job. And or even the people that you're taking off food stamps, You want them to have a job, and but they don't have they don't have how are they going to get a job if they can't clean up like y'all want them to. And if you go out and try to get a job, and naturally you don't want to stand there working next to somebody that stinks to all high heaven. No, and nobody wants to do that. So to all of you people out there that are hollering, get a job, you lazy bum. Well, what if they don't have the means and the way and the ways to clean up and dress up the way a lot of you people expect them to do? How's that supposed to happen? Somebody please explain that to me, because there ain't no job out there unless it's like a forest ranger, and even a forest ranger has to wear a uniform. They have to be all nice and sprucey and cleaned up. Somebody that's working in the garbage dumpster picking up garbage, well, they might be able to get away with that. But still, when you walk into the office to get a job and apply, and you go in there looking like a bum, regardless if you're going to be working with garbage. They don't care. They want, when they look at you, they've got this picture, this image in their mind that you got to look a certain way before we're going to hire you. And that goes for anything. That's just like these big corporations that you go in and you get $160,000 a year. Of course, they want you to look nice. That is understandable. And they want you to know how to read and write. They want you to know things. And if you go in there, and you could be the smartest person on the planet, but if you walked in someplace to get a job and you weren't dressed substantially according to society's regulations and the idea of what it should be, then they're not even going to look at your resume. They're not even going to look at your application, because they figure that if you can't look presentable the way we think you should look, then you couldn't possibly be smart enough to work for this company. So, okay. People with money or a substantial amount of finances have this attitude that a person has got to dress to their standards. Don't come out here in public where I'm at and dress, and I have to look at it. People like you are the ones that are causing homelessness, that are causing people not to want to go out and look for a job because they do you realize, I can remember a time when I was young and married and had one kid, and there was me and him and my baby. We didn't have a washer and dryer. We didn't have the money to go out to a laundromat. And the clothes just piled up and piled up and piled up. And he moved us in with his mom that way out in the boondocks. That any kind of wash machine they had was one of them ringer washers. And you had to hang your clothes up because there was no way to dry them. And if it wasn't nice out, well, then that was so strenuous on me. And do you think he helped? No. So can you imagine a mother that's doing all this by herself, and she's got maybe 3 kids. Husband took off. I don't want nothing to do with this. Took off. No child support, no nothing. And she's expected to keep her kids clean, keep her clean, without all those amenities that it takes to do that with. So when she needs to run the kids up to the school or run to the school because the kid did something wrong, well, I'm sure they'd get dressed for that. But to just run to the store and they're in their PJs or they look like PJs, and a lot of people are using those PJ looking clothes for everyday clothes. But here's the thing. People, I don't care how much money you got and how much respect you think you need to have from other people that come out in your vicinity, in your area, out in public. If, now see, I lost my train of thought. That 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 if you can't have a better thinking brain than that, if you can't sit down and calculate and or think logically, think intentionally, think critically, and sit down and think, I wonder if that young lady has clothes. Maybe that's all she has. Maybe she uses all her money and stuff to get uh, stuff for her kids to make sure her kids are well taken care of, and that's the only clothes she's got. Or maybe she don't have a wash machine and stuff. Do any of you people that are doing that complaining about the way people dress? Are you even sitting down and thinking logically that, or critically, and trying to say, well, maybe that poor girl don't have no other clothes, or maybe she has no way of cleaning up, or maybe she's so sick she can't hardly move, let alone try to get dressed into street clothes. Does anybody sit down and think? Think, use that brain power. Oh, I tell you what, I do, guys. I mean, you don't realize once this ability. I mean, I had it to some degree when I was younger, but my world was so centered around just trying to survive the marriage and the alcoholism and the beatings and stuff. But once I got away and I started realizing what the world was about and what I could think for myself and stuff, once I sit down and I realize, my God, look at other people's side on things. And I've been doing that more so lately this year than I have every year. And somebody comes into my life and they live a certain way. And although I wouldn't live that way and I don't condemn them for it, what I do though is I see the homeless out on the street. I do question why they keep their surrounding area so cluttered up and hoarded up with stuff and dirty and stuff thrown all over the place. I do question that. I do. That I'm judging that because there's no call for that. But as far as other people, I try to sit down and I rack my brain and can't understand people's thinking, why they want to live a certain way. That's just like taking drugs. You know that if you take a certain kind of drug, any kind of drug really, especially drugs, street drugs and stuff like that, you've read enough about it and you've heard enough and you've seen enough that if I take this, there's a possible chance I'm going to get addicted to it and going to have to do this, and this to make sure I keep getting it. I, I can't understand people's thinking. I can't understand. That's just like me living here. That's one of the reasons why I've been downsizing again, getting rid of stuff from the past that I no longer use and stuff. Having that in my house and trying to find a spot for it, trying to keep it out of my way, trying to keep the clutter down. That's torturous, man. That's torturous. So, what is the big? Oh, I got to sit down and think. Okay, Joyce, why do you keep going to the thrift store when you know that you know that you know? If you see something that strikes your eye, like these beautiful cups, why do you keep doing it? Why do you keep putting yourself through that torment when your place gets all cluttered up and you have no room for it? So you have to cut it off. You have to cut it off somewhere along the line. So when people come into my life that live a way that I wouldn't live, I try not to judge them, and I try very hard not to. And oh God, I've had people in my life that I love dearly. I love dearly, but I still can't understand why they live the way they live. But I don't judge. I don't judge now. They think I judge them. Even my son is kind of like that. Well, you can't. That's what he'd say to me. Well, you live your way and I'll live my way. Well, yeah, I understand that, but if you want me, if we're going to be part of each other's life, so he don't even bother with me, my son. He lives his life. He don't bother with his sisters. He lives his life because that's the way he wants to live. And he has no furniture. He has very couple pieces. He has a bed on the floor, and that's all right if that's the way he wants. But you know, don't. It just he don't allow nobody to come over and visit him because he has no place for them to sit down and no place to be comfortable enough to visit with him. So everybody just stays away. Now he keeps his body clean and stuff like that. And since he don't have his own wash machine, he don't go to the laundromat anymore because it's too expensive. I don't know why. But he washes everything out in the sink with hot water and stuff. Well, I used to do that in my younger days with kids and husband, big blue jeans, trying to wash them out. I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to live in a house filled with clutter and stuff like that. And if I don't now, the worst that I do get with anything, like we were talking about, people talking about how people look when they go out. Now are some exceptions, but still, again, if you got a woman that's going out there with barely any clothes on, well, maybe that's all she's got. At least she's got some of her stuff covered up, and and like everybody hollering about these young guys that got their pants hanging around their butt. Leave them alone. If they want to trip and fall over, if they want their pants to slide down to their ankles and they trip and fall down and break a leg or what, let them. Just leave them alone. So, anyway, that's coffee talk today, y'all. Remember, a merry heart doeth good like a medicine, but a broken spirit will dry up your bones. Well, did you ever stop to think that these people that are coming out in public just dressed a certain way, not all of them, but some of them maybe have a broken spirit and they just don't give a damn about life, and they're taking care their business that they need to take care of, uh, and especially if they have kids. I got to get to the store real quick. Whatever that thing, that kind. I'm dropping my kids off at the school, and I'm in my PJs. So what? I'm freaking depressed, and I cry because my baby daddy ain't paying child support, and I could do better if he would do his part. And we don't know what's going on in people's heads, folks, or in their life, and what's causing this or causing that. So maybe they have a broken spirit. Maybe they just don't care anymore because of the way society treats them, or whatever. So remember, too, Proverbs 23:7. As a man believes and thinks in his heart, that's the direction he will go into. And if you believe you can, or if you believe you can't, you're right. So I love y'all. You have a great day. I'm going to finish my coffee. Talk to you later.